Sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghhelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
From the RowPaint.com studio.
Local sports talk with Prater and the Ball Game every weekday at 3.
1350 AM KTIK Nampa Boise and on 95.3 FM Sports Radio The Ticket.
A Cumulus media station.
All right, getting after it today. College football hour, Prater and the Ball Game, Idaho Sports Talk. Got a no-brainer brain scratcher coming up. Give you a chance to get $50 to Sockeye Brewing during Rock Jackson Pop Culture. But Prater, first, we're joined for our BNN report, our partnership with Bronco Nation News. Follow and go there everywhere. BJ Rains with us right now. BJ, welcome to the program, my man. What's going on?
Happy Wednesday, guys. Happy to be on with you. Appreciate it.
Yes, you had a little bit of hoops practice today, BJ.
Yeah, where were you, man?
Place we were here at the studio. We sent Bob down there like we did in the van today. So Bob's been a champion today.
Appreciate seeing you, man.
Anyway, yeah, it would have been nice to see you too. Hey, BJ, let's talk this offense. I want your expectations. Boise State Friday night. Bizarro world continues. Dirk Cutter, offensive coordinator, Taylor Green, the starting quarterback. What are your expectations here? Start us off.
Oh, I can't wait. I haven't been this intrigued for a game in a long time, I think, as you guys and Bronco Nation is. And it's funny, we keep trying to get all these tidbits from the players and assistant coaches we're talking to these days, and they're all kind of like, you'll just have to wait and see on Friday. And even Shale Adipo today was like, well, we're practicing against a scout team, so I'm going to be seeing it like Friday for the first time, just like you guys are. So there's a lot of intrigue, and I think, they keep talking about making it simpler for the quarterbacks, making it a little bit simpler, things like that. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw Brady Hoke had a quote yesterday where he said he called his brother, a friend of his that used to coach with Dirk Cutter with the Falcons, just to ask him what the offense was going to look like. And he said, they're going to be ready for them to throw the football. So nobody really knows. Everyone's trying to find every single nugget, tidbit they can. And I think Boise State's going to use that intrigue to their advantage on Friday night. But I don't expect any huge wholesale changes. I think the play calling will just be a little different, and maybe the way things are run is a little bit different.
BJ, I'm going to keep it with the offense here. I want to talk about the wide receiver core, the receiver group. I think has been underachieving so far statistically. Are you still optimistic that that Cutter and Green or whatever they're going to do now might help turn around a receiving core that's been subpar so far?
I'm usually dead wrong like every day, so I am going to toot my own horn again that I did kind of call the wide receivers before the season maybe not being as good as everybody was thinking. So I'll take my one victory of the entire season and run with it. But no, I think so. I mean, that's obviously there were some issues with the play calling. There's issues with the offensive line, issues with the quarterback, a lot of issues. But wide receivers and their ability to get separation and get open just really hasn't been there. You've not seen a lot of wide open receivers or really open receivers at all when these quarterbacks are looking to throw to them. Now, part of that is the offensive line not giving them enough time to block and things like that. I do think whether it's because of Dirk Cutter now coming in or other reasons, you can put 2 and 2 together with players maybe being healthier at times during the season. I do think that Davis Cutter has a chance to be more involved in the offense moving forward, and I don't think that's just because of his dad now, putting him in the lineup. But you see the practice clips that we got to go to the other day, and he looked like he was out there moving around really well. So, yeah, I think that this is a wake-up call for a lot of guys. I mean, I asked Tyneil Hopper about this today, but when your offensive coordinator gets fired in the middle of the season, any competitor's got to look around and go, like, that's partially my fault. Like, I didn't do enough. Like, these receivers need to step up a little bit and make some plays. And I think there's a lot riding on the entire offense, but definitely the receivers to start doing some things on Friday night.
BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News Report. We usually do this every Friday during the season, and we'll get back to that next week. But today, a shortened week, we'll do it on Wednesday. Bronco Nation News with BJ Rains. Let's talk about Taylen Green just a little bit in terms of the balance that we expect to see throughout his career. And it's been kind of weird in terms of throwing in for one play here or one series here, obviously finishing up the game against Oregon State. He's run the ball 16 times. He's passed the ball 28 times. I don't expect we're going to see that kind of lack of balance from his game on Friday, are we?
Well, he's going to have to prove that he can pass the football, because if he just comes in and runs, 2 out of every 3 plays or whatever the numbers say, I mean, it's not going to, prove to be a, sustainable thing in my opinion moving forward. Teams are eventually going to realize that he's just going to take off with the ball. And, Tim Plow told us a couple of weeks ago after the Oregon State game, yeah, that 74-yard run looked beautiful, but he had 2 wide open receivers on the play that he missed and didn't look at. So there is certainly some growth that Taylen Green still has to make from a passing standpoint, from a decision-making standpoint, from a, just kind of a control of the offense standpoint. But the raw talent is certainly there, and I think that you have to be intrigued by what he can bring. But, I think they're going to have to prove that he can be a little more balanced, and he can't just take off every time a play starts to break down. He's got to read through his progressions. He's still got to try to, do some other things. But it is a really nice weapon to be able to have him take off and run when a play breaks down.
So much has been made about his passing, and I don't think any of us know, other than the coaches who've watched him every single day in practice for roughly 2 years. At the end of the Oregon State game that he finished, there was a time when he completed 6 consecutive passes. Gente, Cobbs, Gente, Caples, Gente, and he had a couple of nice passes before that to Smith. What kind of passer do you think he is?
Well, I don't think he's quite the, as bad. Maybe, I don't know if that's the right word, but I think he's better than some people give him credit for. They just kind of assume he's the running quarterback. And, we saw him at Pro Day. The arm strength is obviously there. I mean, he wooed the NFL scouts. They're going, who the heck is this kid? But you obviously, could see that at Pro Day, some of the, there's nobody guarding at Pro Day. And he had some throws behind guys. At times, you mentioned the Ashton Gente one. He had a 40-yard pass to Ashton Gente in that game, but the pass was like 5 yards underthrown, and Gente had to come back and get it. So I don't think he's like some terrible passer, but I think there's certainly a lot of room to grow there. And so, let's not forget, it's his second year of college football here. So the dude has a lot of room to grow. If you had to pick one strength with him, you're certainly right now saying the ability he has with his legs. But I think his ability to move the ball through the air is going to make or break him and this offense the rest of the season at quarterback.
A lot has been talked about what this offense is going to look like. We saw about 30 minutes of practice yesterday with Dirk Cutter working with the quarterbacks, and he was doing that blocking drill while they were spending a lot of time on short passes, Those 6 passes that I just referenced to at the end of the Oregon State game, he completed those 6 passes all in a row. They went for 6, 4, 6, 7, and 1 yard. Do you expect the Taylen Green passing game, at least for Friday night, is going to focus on nothing but short passes?
Well, if the offensive line still isn't at 100% or not able to block for 3 to 5 seconds, then yes. I mean, yeah, and there was a lot of get it out quick and let guys try to, move after the catch and do things. And whether or not that's, Dirk Cutter's style and what he wants to do moving forward, we'll see. But if they maybe did identify that worked okay for him, I think part of that was the offensive line's just still not very good, and he's got to get the ball out as soon as possible. So again, we're going to speculate all week. You guys are doing it. We'll do it all the way up until kickoff, but no one really knows what it's going to look like, which I think makes it very intriguing. And I had fans on my social media yesterday. Why the heck did they announce Taylen Green as the starter? Make San Diego State worry about it and all this. And you can never win, I guess, but I see no problem with it. It's Taylen Green's team right now. Make it official. And I'm excited to see what he does on Friday night.
Let's talk about that offensive line, BJ. Bronco Nation News Report here on Idaho Sports Talk. I mean, where are your expectations there? I mean, are you expecting them to massively struggle, expecting them to get a lot better, a little better? What's it going to take? Forecast the O-line for me.
Well, I mean, when is Ben Dooley coming back? And we're getting into territory now where it was kind of like KHG last year, where we kept thinking he was close, and the next thing you know, they shut him down for the whole season. So, no clue what's going on there or why he's not back out there yet. That's obviously very concerning and has caused dominoes again. But I'm not, we can't give Ben Dooley too much credit here and say he's the only reason that this group is struggling when he's not out there. There's other guys, obviously, at other spots. Keikani Holamia Gonzalez is banged up, we heard, and so he only could play a certain number of snaps. You got other guys in there. I mean, I don't know. The offensive line we all thought was going to be a major strength. And yes, Ben Dooley's been a big part of it, but the rest of the group still hasn't played amazing as well. And it's mostly on the interior. I think the outside guys have done a pretty good job for the most part, which is why I'd like to see them run the ball outside a little more, not just up the middle every other play. The group's got to get better. Last year, about halfway through the season, they figured some things out and the group started to gel and get better. So if you're a Boise State fan, you got to hope the same thing happens again.
BJ, I know it's all speculation. We're throwing darts at the wall. But if you had to pick one group, whether it's the wide receivers, the offensive line, the running backs, the tight ends, the quarterback, which one group on this offense is going to benefit from the Dirk Cutter, upgrade?
Interesting. When you're wondering that, I was at the first that you're going to ask which one's been the biggest problem so far. It's
a tie. They're all across the board.
That's a good question. I would like to say that they're all going to see some benefit, which is what Keith Bonifant kind of joked about today, that he expects everybody to block better, catch better, and throw better and run better, all moving forward. But I guess I would say the wide receivers, because you would hope that the other pieces would all come together, which would help the receivers maybe have a chance at some more passes. You'd like to say the offensive line is going to get better, but I don't know what the Dirk Cutter is going to come do to change the offensive line and not being able to block. But so I would probably say quarterbacks or receivers. I think the receivers, they have some talent. For whatever reason, whether it's the quarterbacks or themselves, they just haven't been able to do anything at the wide receiver position yet, to be honest. And so, they've I think it's probably the wide receivers, and I think they have the most also that to step up, the most room, I guess, to get better and need to help out this team, because Talon Green, again, every pass Talon Green throws, watch on Friday night. I mean, it's not going to be right there. In the Oregon State game, there were guys reaching behind him, in front of him. His accuracy is still needs to be worked on. So these receivers are going to have to step up and really help Talon Green here in his first start.
BJ with us. 177. That's the number of passing yards this Boise State team is averaging through the air per game after a third of their season, BJ. Are you expecting, actually, let me change that, 163. Are you expecting more or less on Friday night?
Wow, that's a really good over-under. That's a really good number. I mean, you only had 177 total yards in the last game. I'm going to go, I think that's a good number, but I'd probably go slightly under. I think Talon Green's probably at somewhere around 150 yards passing. I think they win the game, but I think they're going to rely on the running game, and I think they get over the 140 or whatever it is that makes them 7-0 under Avalos when they rush for 140 yards. So I think you're probably looking at 350 yards or something, 300 to 350, nothing crazy, but better than last game. But I think they have more rushing yards than passing yards in this game, if that sounds crazy.
What about sacks? Where does San Diego State come into play? I'm just looking at the stats. It looks like they're kind of in the middle of the Mountain West Conference in terms of the type of sacks. Do we expect the San Diego State Aztecs and their defense? It's an aggressive attacking defense no matter what. Are they just going to pin back their ears and come after Talon Green?
I don't know why they wouldn't, but maybe that's to Boise State's advantage. If Talon Green can get by the first level of defense, so to speak, and have 8 to 12 yards to run. So, it's crazy to think we're talking about a defensive slugfest on the blue on Friday, but it really looks like, I couldn't believe Boise State was favored by 7 when I saw the line come out, and then the over-under of 40 is almost laughable, but that's going down, and you see why. And so, I think that if you're a defensive coordinator or a defensive player over there at San Diego State, you're licking your chops for this one. You got a redshirt freshman making his first career start. You got a team that's 2-2 on the season. San Diego State's already come into the blue several times before and won. They're coming in thinking Boise State is ripe to, they got all kinds of problems over there. Let's pound them down even more. So I think if you're San Diego State, you're coming into the blue feeling really, really confident about this one.
One little piece of research. I told Johnny earlier in the show that I went through every single play that Taylor Green has done during his career. He's had 11 drives that he's been in charge of, and they've scored 2 touchdowns and had 1 field goal on those 11 drives. So 8 of his 11 drives. It's not always his fault. There was an Ashton Genty fumble, a couple of punts. He did have an interception, and obviously he had a couple of touchdown runs in there. So a lot of mixed results when it comes to final results with Taylor Green in a quarterback at Boise State.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans, even with Dirk Cutter, are just expecting this magic pixie dust to come in and everything to just be way different on Friday night. But there's obviously significant problems across the board with this team. And, it wouldn't shock me to see him come out and play well and win. And it wouldn't shock me to see him lose pretty badly again. If we just don't know what direction this team is going. All the players and coaches are saying the right things. They're all focused. They're ready to go. I think the whole fact that it's conference play again and they're 1-0, they have something to kind of easier to put the old, rough games behind them. Now they can refocus on conference play. Maybe that helps. But Taylor Green, man, as Johnny would say, holy smokes. So we got a big one Friday night.
BJ, what's going on with BNN the rest of the week quickly? I know it's a game week, a little awkward on a Friday for you guys too.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, we have our BNN After Dark show tonight with you and Winston Venable. Looking forward to that. Subscriber only. So we've been having fun telling stories of the previous teams and Fiesta Bowls and things like that, and we'll keep that going. And we'll have Mike Prater tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. as well. Looking forward to that.
I saw Winston's show this morning. You double up with Winston on Wednesdays. I think there's labor laws about that. You need to take a look at there, BJ. But this morning in his show, which, I love listening to Winston, and I love your After Dark shows with Johnny as well. But Winston this morning, might be the smartest guy on the outside because of where he's been on the inside the last couple of years, said there's a chance that Boise State's offense could get worse.
Yeah, that was interesting. And, there's a couple people should go back and listen to that because he talked about a disconnect between Plow and Avalos, and he really went in depth, I think, on some things to kind of try to figure out what's going on. But he did say, it could go one of two ways, and it's a lot of players looking around, and who knows if other players were thinking about the transfer portal and what else was going on. It is a weird time to all of a sudden, Dirk Cutter, as Andy said, probably the only man for the job here because you have the respect of an NFL head coach and a 40-year guy coming in, but to think about the turmoil of losing your quarterback and the way it happened, to just be stunned Monday morning when they come in and he's not there and everything else. It's just very weird times for sure that I haven't experienced much in my 10 years here.
It's crazy, man. Thanks, BJ.
Yeah, take care, guys.
College Football Hour continues. No-brainer or brain scratcher? The Boise State offense. This will be a good one. We're Prater on the ball game, Idaho Sports Talk. You got yourself KTIK Sports Radio, the ticket.
From the Beacon